On August 30th, Secretary of State John Kerry presented U.S. intelligence findings that he argued justified a military strike against Syria. 2 days later, he appeared on all the network Sunday talk shows. But most of the questions weren't about the case for war. Instead, the questioning was overwhelmingly concerned with Barack Obama's decision to seek congressional approval for an attack on Syria. By our count, fully 80% of the questions were about going to Congress, an action that many of the Sunday show journalists seemed to find terribly troubling. Do you think the United States has undermined its leverage in the world, its credibility? Asked Meet the Press's David Gregory. Haven't you handed Syria and Iran at least a temporary victory, sir? Asked Fox News Sunday's Chris Wallace. The only host to ask about the strength of the case for war was this week's George Stephanopoulos, who, amid 7 questions about Congress, asked one about evidence. And that was, quote, "You say that the evidence is clear, but President Putin of Russia is calling it utter nonsense that President Assad would authorize this kind of a chemical strike. Your response to President Putin," close quote. Putting the skepticism in the mouth of a foreign leader generally antagonistic to U.S. policy is a common media technique for marginalizing a point of view. It's understandable that Kerry would be asked about the decision to go to Congress, but obsessing over it, as though the constitutionally mandated business of seeking congressional approval for war were an exotic and nearly unprecedented maneuver, is disheartening, to say the least, and crowds out space for thoughtful coverage of the U.S. intelligence presentation itself.